So, the other day, my uncle asked me if I could have any power in the world, what would it be and why? Now, when I was first asked this question, it took me some time to think about it. Because I didn't exactly have an answer right away. There's so many superpowers in the world that I don't know exactly which one I'd want. But the other day, it came to me. I was on the ride home, and this idea came to me that if I wanted a power, I want to try to make it useful as possible. And I want to make it seem like it's a power that can really benefit me or anyone in the real world. So, today I have 5 of the most useful powers in the real world. So I want to start off with a good friend, Mr. Fantastic. Because he's got not only does he have his intelligence, he's also got super stretching abilities. And, a power from someone like Mr. Fantastic could be really useful, especially when you're at work or there's something out of reach and you don't feel like getting it. I mean, it may not be useful if you're lazy, but it can definitely benefit you if you're trying to multitask or whatever, or you're trying to get something out of a tree. I mean, it may not seem useful at first, but it will definitely come into play. The ironclad of the UFOs. So personally, the ironclad is kind of one of my favorite members in the UFOs. He's just a really cool looking person, cool villain. I would want his ability because of his strength, which can also be a pretty useful thing in the real world. You gotta have as much strength depending on what kind of position you're in or what situation you're at, but also of how indestructible or nearly indestructible his skin is because of its iron. Now, I know it's not real world, but it's still fun to think that way. But yeah, the Ironclad is a cool character who I feel a lot of people kind of sleep on, and maybe hopefully he and the UFOs can be brought into light one day on big screen or TV or whatever. But next up, I want to do, now personally, if you're living in an area where there's a lot of change of climate every day, one day it'll be nice and hot, and then next day it'll be cold, and one day it'll be sunny, and next day it'll be rainy, next day it'll be snowy, whatever. In a sense, I think having the abilities of the Weather Wizard could be useful, because you can control the weather to whatever liking you want. So say you're growing a garden, crops, on a farm, or whatever. You can control the rain at however much you like, the healthy amount of rain to help grow the plants. And, it's or if you want a nice winter where it's not a blizzard every other day like it is up here in Massachusetts, it is also would be beneficial to control the weather. Or especially in the summertime when it gets to those 90s and 100-degree days, you can help control the weather, bring that down to maybe somewhere in the 60s where it's not too hot but it's not too cold. It's a good ability to have, and if you have this ability, I feel like people would be thankful of you for it. They'd probably be jealous of it. I think it's just really cool power, and also kind of an underrated character, because when you think of super beings, you don't really really think of rain or the sun as a superpower that first pops up in your head, but to each their own. So next up, another cool person to have abilities is the Taskmaster, who, in a nutshell, he can mimic and copy other people's abilities. So, say for instance, there I see someone throwing a football, like who's got like the arm of Tom Brady. Now, the Taskmaster usually kind of like studies him in a way. He looks how he does it. So if I want to learn how to throw like Tom Brady, I would have to visualize his stance, how he would throw the ball. The way he drops back, the way he's being careful, taking his time. That's what Taskmaster would do. He could mimic people's ability. He could copy people's abilities and talents. He can mimic them, and he can be like another Tom Brady. Which, honestly, if this guy was a Tom Brady, he would be pretty scary, and he would be just pretty scary to have on the football field or any sporting field in general. Because, like I said, he will just mimic everyone's moves. He will be 10 steps ahead of everyone. He will know your next move before you even do. It's really cool, and I think it could definitely be useful if you're playing sports or whatever. Metallo, who, similar to the Ironclad, he's got sort of indestructible skin, the iron metal-like skin. But what I like about him as well is, he is artificial. He's robotic. And I feel like, in a way, when you're robotic or a cyborg, any sort of artificial intelligent like, I feel like, in a sense, it's kind of cool because you don't have to worry about regular organs giving out or whatever. You can eat as much food and not have to worry about anything bad happening to your body. I mean, as long as you're just discreet with water and anything else like that can be harmful to metal. I mean, I think this could be a cool and useful ability to have. Well, that's all for now. There's a whole lot of other characters and beings I wish I would like to have, but I'll probably do a part 2 for another time. But until then, stay safe out there.